We are live for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Let's go. Finally, this fight is here, and the whole world is worried about Jake Paul in the first minute of this fight. I can promise you that. The whole world is holding its breath for Jake Paul, whether you like him or not. If he gets through the first minute, first two rounds especially, could be good things for him. We'll see. My prediction. I can't give you the prediction because we're about to get into that here in a minute. Stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege.
Welcome to the TCMMA podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cross, and I got a smile on my face because I'm excited about this one. Jake Paul versus the 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Are you serious? I mean, he could be Jake Paul's father, for goodness sake. But this feels like the old days, okay? For all you young folks out there, this is how we grew up. You got the big fight in boxing. There was no UFC then, right? You got the big fight in boxing, the big main event. You got to wait all night to get there. Place is ready to go. And we get a look back at the 80s and 90s when Mike Tyson makes the walk. But can Jake Paul get the job done? That's the big question. Now, we got a little time. We're probably 10 to 20 minutes away from fight time. So let's get into some of the commentary leading up to this and then finish with the big fight prediction here for Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And we'll come back, and this fight will be just about to start. I can guarantee you that. So stay tuned during this quick break, but you're going to enjoy this. I promise you.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast.
Now, I've been telling you, against the advice of all of you, that Jake Paul is going to beat Mike Tyson. And oddly enough, he still remains a slight favorite. Why is this thing down from like 180 to 135, 140, 150, whatever it may be? Because of the rules. One of the reasons I think Mike Tyson loses is because he gets tired later in the fight. Right? So you have to first assume that Jake Paul is going to get through the first 2 or 3 rounds. Then by round 4, Mike Tyson really starts to look tired. By round 7 and 8, he's gassed, completely gassed. He's 58 years old. But they have leveled the playing field, right? As we all know. 2-minute rounds, 8 rounds. That's 16 minutes. That's a regular 5-round fight. If they were 3 minutes, you'd see a big drop-off in round 4 and 5 by Mike Tyson. But where they're 2 minutes and you get to rest quicker, you know, instead of waiting 3 minutes, you rest after 2. Mike Tyson's going to be pretty fresh throughout this fight. I mean, these rounds are going to be quick, man. Boom, boom, boom. Mike Tyson's going to be able to rest. He'll get into round 5 and 6, if it goes that far, and start saying, oh my gosh, there's only like 7 or 8 minutes left in his fight, and he'll be fine. And therefore, the odds are coming down. And in fact, in my head, I'm like, is Jake Paul really going to win in this situation? If it's an 8-round fight for 3 minutes, Jake Paul wins, in my book, pretty darn easily, as long as he doesn't get KO'd in the first or second. And I put that disclaimer out there because it's possible. I mean, Mike Tyson can KO anyone on the planet, including the heavyweight champ right now, in the first round or 2. But if you get past that, you have a strong chance to win. But the game has changed now. The game has changed based on the rules. And to me, anything can happen in this fight. And I don't see Mike Tyson getting as tired, but I still think Jake Paul is going to pull this thing out. I just do. I just think Jake Paul is going to pull this thing out. And, you know, and it won't even be close because if it goes to a decision, Jake Paul's winning. It's still, the big question remains, can Mike Tyson KO Jake Paul? And I think all the way up through, instead of saying round 1, 2, and maybe 3, you got to say now rounds 1 through 5, which is basically 3 rounds, 10 minutes. Mike Tyson has the ability to KO Jake Paul. That lasts now longer into the fight, and that's more scary. But I think Jake Paul outboxes him. He's going to touch Tyson more. Tyson's going to try to get inside, land the big punches, then tie up. And as time goes on, every second, the percentage of Jake Paul, at the beginning of the fight, it's like Jake Paul has a 10% chance to win. After the first minute, it's up to 25%. After round 2, it's up to 40%. After rounds 3 and 4, it's 60%. After round 5, it's like 80%, right? But when that bell dings at the beginning of the fight, it's like, okay, Jake Paul has like 2% chance to win this fight. Because Mike Tyson can KO anybody on the planet if he catches him. I don't care if he's 58 or 108. That's just the way it goes. But I still like Jake Paul to barely win. I agree with the odds coming way down. It's getting closer and closer to 50-50. And quite frankly, as we get closer to the fight, it's going to continue heading in that direction. That's just what I believe.
As we move forward into the Q&A, it's going to be dominated today. 222 comments on Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. We obviously won't get through all those, but man, that's probably a record, or at least close. Chris Lee says, look at the rules. Totally disrespectful to Tyson. Headgear. Tag in your brother. Weigh in. Get out. He's scared. Paul can't handle him, period. Nick Corey fires back. Some people believe everything they hear. Pick up your phone, type in the rules. It's really not that hard. I know your day is busy, brother, but just do a little research before you trust everything you hear. Yeah. David Shirley weighs in. Chris Lee, so you heard that rumor and thought it was real. No, none of the stuff will fly in an official boxing match. That's why I read that and I was like, what? Kevin Bell. Chris Lee, this is wrong. Jake Paul said on a live stream the other day, these rules are wrong. Won't you what you are saying? Yeah. Chris Lee, I heard they changed the rules. Yeah, so those rules are not true. Thank goodness. Chad Tenberg says, being judgmental about his age is your first mistake. A lot of older men will beat a lot of younger guys. Knowledge and being hungry. Tyson is hungry. I believe it. And a lot of people believe this thing's fixed anyway, but I believe Tyson going there and win in the first 2 rounds. But I'm banking on the fact that that's not going to happen. I'm banking on the fact that Tyson's going to go in there and get tired because he's 57 years old. Maybe 58 by fight time or close to it. I mean, the guy is near 60. Come on, y'all. Please, man. Grayson Vaughn. Really, really funny analogy. Tyson is so far above this challenge, he is going to destroy Paul. And Joe Harris says, yeah, he's 100% correct. And I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, everybody is with Mike Tyson. I haven't seen one yet for Jake Paul. Mike McCullough, Tyson didn't want that fight. He wants this one. So sit down with that nonsense. I mean, listen, everyone's got some points here. Robbie Rivera, Tyson going to win. How long ago was the Roy Jones Jr. fight exactly? Tyson been in the gym since that, then putting in the work, training, and trying to get himself to where he used to be. The Tyson we're seeing now is 100% different Tyson than the Tyson we saw. Yeah, okay. But he's still 57 years old. Mike Tyson is 57 years old. Jake Paul's like 20-something, maybe 30. I don't even know. But it's a major difference, and it's a factor in this one. Rick Kempkins Jr. says Tyson carried Jones Jr. through that fight. He could have hurt Jones Jr. bad, and I think he knew it. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Troy Brown, not a real match. They have already acted out the whole thing and created a script. Just a money grab from all you people who think it's real. This is not a title shot or anything that matters. They are already rich and just getting richer. But Tyson doesn't need the money, does he? I mean, I don't think he does. Tyson doesn't need the money. Tyson's not taking this fight for the money. I think he's taking this fight because he really believes that he can win. And I find it hard to believe that it'd be scripted. You never know. It's not like I have come through a Jake Paul fight and said, yeah, that might not have been real. I definitely have. But I just can't see Tyson doing that. I mean, Tyson, I just can't believe he can even do that. I believe if Tyson steps in the ring, he's ready to KO somebody. Like, I think Tyson's coming in for real. But even with that, I still say Jake Paul
gets to round 3, and then you're going to immediately see things change, and Jake Paul is going to win this fight. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Listen, it's not like I'm perfect. I say this all the time. Anything could happen. I mean, absolutely anything. But in terms of making a pick, I got to go with Jake Paul in this one because Mike Tyson is 57 freaking years old. Some of you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid of the old Tyson. This isn't the old Tyson. It's a whole new game now. I'm 40, and if I fought my 20-year-old self, I might have a chance, but if it goes 3 or 4 rounds, I'm going to be in serious trouble, no matter how much I train. I'm just, you get up there, especially when you're in your, I mean, I can't imagine. I got a long ways to go for I'm 57, and I'm tired now. I can't imagine how Tyson's feeling. I mean, I just don't see it happening, y'all. But listen, I respect the opinions all day, especially 222 of them, all for Tyson. And if we really read through them, I'd say 210 out of 222 are for Tyson. You have to really dig through there to find one for Paul. But it is what it is, man. I just got to give you, and I've gone against Jake Paul almost every time, but not in this one. I can't do it. In an article today, Mike Tyson becomes the heavy favorite against Jake Paul. No chance he beats Iron Mike. Right? This is according to McNeely, who Tyson once fought. Jake Paul has never... And he's talking to the U.S. Mirror. Says Jake Paul has never fought a real professional or someone of Mike's caliber. I remember what it was like being hit by him, and just because you get older doesn't mean you lose that power. Yep, and Mike Tyson's still going to have that power, but how long that power lasts is the big question. But before we dive into this anymore, let's get to the full detailed prediction. And this is, this is to the best of our ability. It's not like we're so used to UFC now. We have our intro and exit, and we have a routine. It's a little harder in boxing because the stats are just way different. But nonetheless, we do the best job we can. Check this out. In the heavyweight division, Jake Paul takes on Mike Tyson. And this is going to be an extremely exciting fight to watch, right? Jake Paul, still somewhat new in the game, but he's 10-1 with 7 KOs. Mike Tyson 50-6, incredible, with 44 KOs, 88% finish rate. But he's also been KO'd 5 times and 6 losses. So Tyson either wins by KO or loses by KO about nearly 90% of the time. So when you look at these two, Jake Paul is going to be 3 inches taller at 6'1". Mike Tyson's 5'10". Jake Paul has a 5-inch reach advantage. Now, Mike Tyson's simple. The storyline, you guys all know. He hasn't fought in a long time. He lost his last 2 fights against Kevin McBride and Danny Williams after beating Clifford Etienne and also losing to Lennox Lewis. So he's lost 3 of the last 4 in a professional setting. Now, Jake Paul, you know pretty well too. He's coming off the, multiple wins, 4 straight wins after the Tommy Fury decision loss. Remember, he went to a decision in that fight. He's beaten Nate Diaz, Andre August, Ryan Boulard, and Michael Perry. So Jake Paul's beating everybody that's not a boxer. Mike Tyson's a boxer, but he's older, right? What is he, 57, 58 years old by the time of this fight? So can a 58-year-old really get in there with a 20-something-year-old and beat him? Well, sure he can, if the fight finishes early, right? So it's very tough to make a prediction in this fight because you got a clash of 2 different worlds. A younger fighter who doesn't have the experience that Mike Tyson has, but Mike Tyson is much older. Probably not going to have the cardio to go the full, length, even though the rounds are shorter, unless something has changed. So to me, it just comes down to, can Mike Tyson get the early finish? Well, of course he can. Am I going to bank on that? No, because Jake Paul just has to survive for about 2 or 3 rounds, 4 to 6 minutes before Tyson starts to come down. Now, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Tyson's going to come in very energetic with all the energy in the world. He's probably going to be in the best shape of his life, especially for a 58-year-old. Not compared to his old self. He'll never be that again, right? I mean, it's just time takes care of that. But in terms of 58-year-old, he's going to be in tremendous shape.
a lot of confidence. Anything is possible, but in my opinion, Jake Paul is going to win this fight late, round 6, 7, 8, something like that. He'll survive early and get the job done and move to 11-1. Will he get the finish? We'll see. But either way, in my opinion, Jake Paul wins this fight. He'll be 11-1. This is it. Paul versus Tyson. Stay tuned. Yeah, and in my opinion, I mean, as I said, Mike Tyson is not going to be able to hang with Jake Paul for the length of this fight. Does anybody believe that Mike Tyson's winning this fight by decision? If you do, please speak up. Now's the time. I certainly don't believe that. So if Tyson's going to win, it's going to be in rounds 1, 2, 3. And after that, it's a wrap. The fight is going to swing in Jake Paul's direction. All he has to do is survive. He just has to survive for like 4 to 6 minutes. And you would think early on in the fight, if you're Jake Paul, just move around, try to wear Tyson down. You don't have to win the first 3 rounds. Maybe you win 1 of the 3. You'll win the next 4 or 5 rounds after that. Or 4 of the 5 rounds and win 5 of 8 and win a decision. And that's how I see the fight going. It's real simple for me. Jake Paul is going to win this fight by decision or late TKO because Tyson runs out of gas. Mark my words. I'm not 100% confident because, you know, you're dealing with a striker and a KO specialist in Tyson, regardless of the age. He could still win, but I just don't see it happening. Tyson's going to run out of gas. That's just what I believe. That's my opinion.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
All right, we're back, baby. This is your boy Chris Cross. This is a TCMMA podcast. We're moments away from this fight taking place. So we've had the national anthem, and now we're waiting for the fighters to make their walk. So who knows how long that will actually take. But here's a tale of the tape. 27-year-old Jake Paul versus 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Tyson's 50-6 in his career. Does that really matter right now? Jake Paul's 10-1, right? 10-0 against guys that aren't like professional boxers. 0-1 against a professional boxer. Very close fight. This is Mike Tyson, who's going to be absolutely ridiculous, as I've said for almost a year now, for the first 2 rounds of this fight. That's where it's at for Jake Paul. If he can get past the first 2 rounds, anything is possible. For Mike Tyson, he wants to get the early finish. He wants Jake Paul to feel that power and Jake Paul to say, you know what? I don't want to be in here. And that's why I say the world holds its breath for Jake Paul. Whether you're with him or against him, you are holding your breath in that first 2 minutes. Even if you want to see him lose, it's like you're still holding your breath, man. One big difference here between UFC and boxing is they really drag it out, right? Before the guys come in to the ring, they drag it out. So we're, 30 minutes since the Serrano-Katie Taylor fight ended, which was unbelievable fight. I still cannot believe that Serrano did not get the victory in that one. It seemed to me like she deserved it, but it was a close fight. The point deduction away from Katie Taylor would have made you believe that Serrano won that fight. So I thought it was 5-5 at worst, 6-4 for Serrano is how I had it with the point deduction. Now it's like 6-3. So, but, Katie Taylor retains the belt, and we'll probably get the trilogy. Let's go, boys. Someone start walking to the ring. Let's get this thing going, man. We've been waiting too long for this. Quit playing with our emotions. Okay, the lights are out, baby. Let's go. Let's go. We got promos now. Dang. All right, so Jake Paul's promo's up right now. So we're going to have to sit through this for a minute. But it's all good. Listen, join us tomorrow night, too. Get involved in the chat room. We'll get in there and read those in just a second. Join us tomorrow, too. John Jones versus Stipe. That's our world. This is just a little extra treat tonight, really. But that's our world. So we'll be live for the final 3 fights there, beginning with Bo Nickel, who will probably get a quick victory over Paul Craig. Then you got the co-main event and the main event. Co-main, Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler, the rematch. Can't miss that one. So big night tonight, UFC 309. Hit the subscribe button while you're watching. Make sure you get access to all the predictions leading up to all the biggest, well, really, all the UFC fights, right? So Jake Paul's rolling out in a crazy green-looking car. So he's going to get escorted. Jake Paul is going to get escorted to the ring with his brother, Logan Paul. And say what you want, you know. If Jake Paul does win this fight, people are going to say then Tyson was 58. It's not a legitimate victory. And nobody's saying that right now. But they will say that if he wins. But make no mistake, Jake Paul is taking this fight serious. Jake Paul's crazy, man. He's got the bird in the back of the car. The bird he tried to give to Tyson. Boy, in that car, you've never seen a car go so slow. There's about 20 cameras ahead of the car. 8 on each side. And now you see Jake Paul's demeanor change. He was smiling moments ago. Now he's starting to feel the nerves. These are normal for an athlete. And then now it's just about not letting that doubt creep in. You just got to stay excited and positive. And Jake Paul's starting to look calm now. So he's going back and forth with his emotions, you know. But the bottom line is there's got to be nerves inside there for Jake Paul. And he's got a bigger escort than President Trump would have walking up to the ring. It's crazy. All right, so he's going to get out of the car now. Touch gloves with some of the fans. And now he's working his way to the ring. And I don't know how this fight's going to take place, but listen, again, growing up to this stuff, the walk of Mike Tyson to the ring is something we haven't seen for like a real walk, not like the Roy Jones Jr. 4 years ago. But the real walk of Mike Tyson in a setting like this is unlike any other walkout you've ever seen. Because the fear that he brings with him is ridiculous. And it's amazing that Jake Paul walked to the ring first. I thought for sure he would be second. But no. Mike Tyson will make the last walk to the ring tonight. And I try to tell people, like, you know, if you're not paying attention to this stuff, Jake Paul's a legitimate fighter. I mean, I'm not saying he's like top 10 in the world, but he's a legitimate fighter. This is not just, you know, the Jake Paul you knew 15 years ago. I mean, this is a 10 or 15 years ago when he was younger. Like, people still think he's, because we're how we saw him grow up, where we seen him throughout his life, and it's hard to believe, okay, he's really a boxer. You don't want to believe, if you're not paying attention, Jake Paul can fight, okay? And Mike Tyson's going to have to turn back the clock of time, which is very possible in a one-off. So Jake Paul's in, Iron Mike is next. Undisputed heavyweight champ from 87 to 90, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. And it's been 7,100 days, basically, just shy of, since his last sanctioned fight. So that's, what, 18, 19 years? Unbelievable. And I have a feeling Mike Tyson's not going to take as long to get to the ring as Jake Paul did. I think Mike Tyson just coming out and let's go. Okay, Mike. Let's go, Mike. And regardless of what you can say about Jake Paul, he's made the sport great again. He's made boxing great again. Because that's why everyone's watching. Let's go. Look at them old pictures from the 80s. That dude looked scary, bro. Ooh, baby, let's go. Bring him out, bring him out. New York, New York. Mike looks mean as ever, man. Big as ever. You know, the legs aren't the same, but the upper body looks the same. You know, dang, Tyson almost tripping on the way out. Yeah, dude, I'm not standing across the ring with Mike Tyson. Even at 58, he looks, you know, you could tell he's more stiff. He's not, doesn't have that youthful look, right? I mean, you shouldn't at 58, but he still has that look on his face like it's going to be a long night for you, man, or a quick one for that matter. And Mike Tyson's making his way to the octagon at about 4 times the pace of Jake Paul. I keep saying octagon. I'm so used to saying that. The ring. Please forgive me. Jump into the chat room, see if anything's going on, man. This is a big one. Yeah. Got Nerd saying hello. What's happening? It's about to go down. This is it. And everybody hold your breath for Jake Paul, because when that bell rings, that's what everybody wants to see, is when the bell rings. I don't know how long before that excitement drops, but let's see what Mike Tyson can do, man. Ooh, hold your breath for Jake Paul. There's a lot of things in life I'd do for $1 million, but get in the ring with Tyson in his prime, I might just have to say forget about it. And you look at him now, and it's kind of like the same thing. Like, regardless of the age, when he has that look in the look of a tiger, man, it could be a problem for you. Does it get out of round 1? Does this fight get out of round 1? And listen, both guys are in the octagon. They're both in their opposing corners. And the tension is building at Dallas Stadium, which is what I'm going to call it. And it looks to me like, because there's people on the ground, you know, like there should be in a boxing match, but it seems to me that there's way more people than just a regular football game. I mean, every seat is, you know, just massive amounts of people. All right, ref, just stay out the way, man. Just let you might as well just go out with the fan. Just stay out of the way. And I'm so curious about this because I didn't think, you know, Tyson didn't look bad, and it was an exhibition, but he did look a little slow. Him and Roy Jones Jr., you know, tying each other up every 5 seconds. You're not going to be able to do that as much with Jake Paul. All right, the problem child is getting introduced. Jake Paul, baby, what you got? We're holding our breath for you, Jake. We are holding our breath for you. And he looks relaxed. He's still talking crap into camera. You know, he looks relaxed. Looks big, too. Got a little extra water weight. Yeah, he's definitely carrying some extra weight. That could be a factor, too. All right, we get all the titles. Let's go, man. Get this thing started. All right, Jake. What you gonna do, Jake? Crowd's about to go wild for Mike Tyson now. All right, Jake's introduced. There he is, Iron Mike, baby. Wow. This is like being a kid again, man. And the crowd's yelling so loud you can't even hear the announcer. 50-6, 44 KOs. He's 5 feet 10, 228 pounds. Fighting out of Brownsville, Brooklyn. By way of Catskill, New York. Dang. All right, Iron Mike, what you gonna do, man? And it's it's interesting too because I think he definitely goes for the KO in the first round, but also if it goes deep, like how tired are you gonna be if you let it all loose in the first round? So it's gonna be interesting to see how he starts his fight, for sure. Mike Tyson, aka Iron Mike, aka baddest man on the planet. Those titles are legitimate. With Jake Paul, they were talking about content creator and philanthropist. And then Tyson gets introduced, and it's the baddest man on the planet. The crowd is going crazy. Listen, Dallas Stadium is shaking. Both guys are standing in front of each other now. And it's about to get real, ladies and gentlemen. It's about to get real. So here we go. Huge boxing match. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. One of the biggest fights in the last 15 years for sure. It's not even like a real fight for any rankings or titles or anything like that. It's just the magnitude of the event. There hasn't been a bigger fight in at least 15 to 20 years for boxing. That's for sure, without question. And these guys are about to get it on, and we'll be here until this thing finishes. Oh, baby. Oh, my God, we're seconds away. We are seconds away. Hold your breath for Jake Paul, man. Here we go. Here we go. Ring that bell. Let's go. Ring the bell. Wow, here we go. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah, Mike Tyson's coming forward. Jake Paul, a little jittery, gets out of there. And here comes Mike. And Mike grabs Jake Paul right away. Don't be nice, Mike. First right landed by Jake Paul and a jab by Mike, and the crowd goes crazy. Oh, a big right connects on Jake. You can already see his face. I don't care who he's been in there with. He hasn't been hit this hard for sure. That power and endurance will fade quickly, though. And there you go, Jake. Jake grabbing on already. Smart move. Fans aren't going to like it. But from a strategic point of view, that's smart. Because you got to wear Tyson out as quick as possible. And he grabs and holds again. Jake Paul said, "What, or Mike Tyson says, come on, what's going on?" Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, you can see Jake Paul's a little jittery, man. Yep, and Jake Paul moving quick and landing some jabs. Mike Tyson turns to right. Remember the 14-ounce gloves, and things look huge. Big right by Jake. And once Jake Paul gets into the groove, I feel more confident with my prediction. And already we're past 90 seconds. So second by second, anything can happen still. But second by second, you got to assume Jake Paul is going to slow down, and a low blow there by Mike. And there's a tap to round one. And already the confidence for Jake Paul is going to build as he goes to the corner. And round one is done. And Tyson stares him down and walks over to the corner. Now, what is it? So we made it through round one. All right. So the percentages of Jake Paul winning is just doubled, basically. Tyson definitely breathing hard in the corner to go to work on him. No problems, right? But definitely looking more tired. And that jab that he landed on Jake Paul was just a jab, but that electrified the crowd. And Jake Paul realized, I don't want any more of that. And he landed a big right on Mike and connected. And Mike took it. And how much was Mike hit during training camp, right? And Mike Tyson gets instructions from the corner. And here we go. Round 2 is underway. There's going to be quick rounds, ladies and gentlemen. So a few more tense moments here in round 2. This is the big round, as we talked about in the prediction. If Jake Paul wins this round, I believe 100% he wins the fight. Now, Tyson won the first round, and I'm sure Jake Paul just gave him that. In round 1, it was just 3-2 landed for Paul, 8-5 thrown. So both guys right at 40%. Not very active. Mike Tyson lands a left. Oh, baby. And Mike not with a lot of movement, right? He still got the same side-to-side movement a little bit as he had in the old days, but his legs are slow. Not a lot of bounce in his step. And Mike Tyson has Jake Paul pinned in the corner, and he ties him up. Or maybe Jake Paul tied him up. It's very smart. And this is just going to wear down Tyson, second by second. And we're already under a minute here in round 2. And Jake Paul looking more comfortable now. Slowly, barring no big punch by Mike in the next minute or two, slowly the fight is going to start swinging Jake Paul's way. That's my belief. Mike lands a nice left. Mike covering up well, not taking a lot of punches right now. And Mike comes forward, lands a jab here, close to the bell, misses on a right. Jake Paul gets out of there, and that'll do it for round 2. And Mike Tyson staring him down again. But see what happens now, okay? Because this is the point in the fight that we really focused on, the end of round 2, and over the around the last year, talking about this fight because it was delayed and all that. Jake Paul should take over this fight now. The fear of Mike Tyson walking up to the octagon, getting into the octagon and realizing, holy crap, I'm standing across the ring with the baddest dude on the planet. Getting past that, getting through round 1. Okay, I get through round 1, I'm okay. Oh, I get through round 2, I'm okay. All right? So now that stigma starts to fade because it's a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. And now you're going to see Jake Paul pick his game up for sure here as this fight goes on. Round 3 underway. And if you're just joining us, yes, we're in round 3. And Mike Tyson coming out hot now. Probably starting to realize, he's going to start getting tired at some point. And this might be the round that Jake Paul has to get through. But right now they got Tyson up 20-18. Interesting. I don't know that Mike won both rounds. I think it's 1-1. Oh, Paul lands on Tyson. Tyson stumbles. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Paul lands a left. Starting to feel better. Lands a right. And I'm telling you, Paul's starting to feel better. Tyson stumbles a little bit. And this is where the U starts to pick in. This is where the U starts to pick up. Where everybody, for months and months and months, said Mike Tyson's going to KO him. And the fight's still not over. But you're starting to see the age of Mike Tyson show. And this is what I expected to happen. And eventually, those power punches that could end the fight won't be there. and it's going to be Jake Paul that starts to take over this fight. And you're starting to see it here in round 3. And you even see some people close to the ring starting to have different looks on their face. Like, okay, I don't know if Mike Tyson's going to be able to do this. Mike Tyson remaining calm, but he's on the defensive for sure. And definitely starting to get tired. That's a good point, because I said that too, to Jake Paul's extra weight, which looks like a lot of water weight. Doesn't seem to be slowing him down at all. And, you know, the 2-minute rounds are definitely big for Jake Paul too, because he can go in bursts, take the lead in the round, and get to the round. Yeah, Mike Tyson's looking real tired here at the end of round 3. A lot of concern on the look of his face right now. You know, because he's walking in too like, I can beat him. I can still return to my old self, my 20-year-old self. But the reality is, you're not 20. You're 58. And he's starting to look like it. And you see the concern on his face, like, it's not good. I'm getting a look at the replay. Paul with 5 straight punches. 6, 7 before Mike Tyson responds. And Jake Paul is definitely outpacing Mike Tyson here. And the confidence builds even further for Jake Paul. Now the ref's saying time and starting it. Round 4 is underway. And Mike's got to land that punch. He's not going to win this thing by trying to box with Jake Paul. He's going to win this thing by landing the big punch. Let's go, Jake. Got to start to pick it up, baby. Wear him out. And it's crazy because leading up to this thing, I didn't see, literally, I have not talked to, have to really think that anybody said Jake Paul was going to win this fight. I'm going to have to really think. I don't remember anybody out there saying that Jake Paul would win this fight. And here we are in round 4, and Jake Paul starting to look real good. Mike Tyson beginning to slow down, and he's gonna have to pick, he's gonna have to dig real deep to pull this thing out. I mean, he's gonna have to dig real deep. 1:15 left, round 4, and you're starting to see Tyson's legs a little jittery now. In terms of the feints from Jake, he's moving in quickly, trying to get out of the way, and not as much bounce in the step. And that's the big thing that you lose as you get older, is the leg strength. The youthful energy in your legs to be able to bounce around, move quickly, get low, and explode up with those powerful finishes. You're just seeing a slower Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson's a fighter. And if you're Jake Paul, even when you're talking smack leading up to this fight, there's got to be something in your head. There's got to be some doubt, right? And then you're living in the moment, and you're in round 4 with Mike Tyson, and you're starting to take control of this fight. There's a tap for round 4. Tyson walks back to his corner looking a little dejected, starting to realize that KO is very elusive. If you're Jake Paul, though, you're headed towards a victory in this fight, but you got to be careful, knowing that it's still Mike Tyson. Anything can happen at any given second. Stay out of harm's way. and continue boxing for the next 4 rounds like you did in the first 4, and you get the win here. And you can hear from how quiet it is. I think the fans are starting to realize too, like Mike just doesn't have that thunder. Nice body shot there by Jake Paul. Oof. Both fighters stand up. And we're halfway through the fight. I mean, it's amazing. We're halfway through this fight. It seems like it just started just seconds ago. Jake Paul opens it up with a few jabs. Mike Tyson trying to bounce a little bit to get his legs underneath of him, but it just doesn't seem like he's got the power or speed in the legs. And Jake Paul is able to, get in, land some jabs. Nice right there by Jake. And then he's able to land the jabs and get back out. And a nice stiff jab there by Paul with a big right coming. And now he's starting to open up a little bit. Yeah, Mike just slowing down, man. Jake Paul feeling comfortable. Standing in front of Mike. Throwing the jabs. Sometime, landing the combo with the right as well. Big left there. Ooh. Biggest punch of the fight for Mike Tyson with the big left. And Jake just ate it. Right back to form now. And Mike landed once this round, but not a lot over the last couple of rounds, right? He just doesn't have the footwork and the speed anymore. By the time he moves or whatever, Jake Paul's already out of the spot that he was in just seconds ago. So, and a nice right by Jake Paul. And Jake's going to be criticized even when he wins. He's going to be criticized. How dare you fight a 58-year-old all this? But you got to remember, going into this fight, everybody said Mike Tyson's going to win. And if you said anything different, you're a crazy person. You don't know anything about boxing and all of these things and comments that we've heard over the last year, basically. I try to look at these things and take a step back because my emotions would say I want to see Mike Tyson KO him, but I'm also got to be realistic and say I just don't see that happening. And these punches you're seeing in slow motion by Jake Paul are just ridiculous. Beam. And Mike caught him under the chin. And Jake stuck his tongue out. I missed that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're up to round 6 already. I mean, there's only 6 minutes left in this fight. Jake's got to pick it up too. He's got to make sure they don't try to rob him and give him a draw or something like that, right? Because he did start slow the first round for sure. Definitely gave up the first, maybe the second, but he certainly won the last 3 without question. Mike Tyson just looks like he's stuck in mud. First round, there was some flair, but he still only landed 2 punches in the first round. So I can make an argument that Jake's up 5-0 right now. But at worst, he's up 3-2. And a nice right uppercut and left jab by Paul, followed by another jab and a right. And Jake Paul could probably I mean, he could clearly be more aggressive and try to take Tyson out in this fight and get the TKO, KO, something like that. But, then you put yourself in a position where you might get caught. And he's being smart not to do that. Let's go, Jake. Come on, Jake. Here comes Mike. And Mike just can't get the foot speed to land. Crowd booing now. But what'd you expect? Everybody built something up in their head. And you want to see the 58-year-old go in there and beat Jake, a guy that's headed right to his prime. I mean, think about it. He's got 3 years before he's 30. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, he's in perfect position in life at the highest strength level, fighting a guy who hasn't fought in a sanctioned bout in almost 20 years. Jake Paul getting instructions from his corner, like, let's pour it on now. Let's go. Yeah. Telling him to go in and out. That's a good strategy. Because then you just keep Mike moving and getting more and more tired. And you finish his thing. Big round for Jake. Make sure you don't give the judges any reason to make it 4-4. Round 7's underway. Man, nice left by Mike. Crowd likes it a little bit. Trying to get Mike to wake up. At some point, if you're Mike, you just got to go for it, right? I mean, him too should start realizing, okay, I only got 4 minutes left here. You don't get to finish. And look at that, 59-16 total punches. Just not even close. Jake throwing 200, Mike only 87. And not only is Jake Paul, doubly as active as Tyson, he's also landing at a higher percentage. So there's no way you can make the case. Mike's landing 2 punches on average per round. And anybody or any thought that this fight was fixed, it should be out of your mind now. I mean, it's a legitimate fight, and it's going exactly how one might expect it to go. Boom. Nice combo by Jake, left and right. Left to the body. And he's able to land before Tyson moves. I mean, that's the difference in the speed. I didn't know that was a thing. You can't measure, so you can't stick your jab hand out and touching his forehead. I've never heard that before, but okay. Regardless of how this finishes, mad respect for Mike Tyson. We got 1 round left, but there's no way you can make the case that Mike won this fight, not even close. He would need to finish here to have any chance to win this fight, but you got to give credit to Mike at the age of 58, man. To get in there and do what he's doing. He's looking real tired right now. Corner telling him he's got to get more aggressive. He's got the look on his face like, what you mean? I'm tired as heck in here. But give this guy credit. I mean, he's an absolute warrior. He's not the same human being. But at the same time, he's getting in there with a 27-year-old dude who lives this every day. And that's what people don't realize coming in, is it's like, you're thinking Jake's just this punk that can't fight. The reality is he can fight, right? Not measured up against the 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but just in general, the dude can fight. And therefore, it's not just going to be a walk in the park for Mike Tyson, which many people thought, and had me worried too. I was worried in the first 2 rounds. But you can quickly see that it's not going to be that type of situation for Mike Tyson. He can still catch you at any time. But this fight has just swung way to Jake Paul. 28-5 in the previous round. Ooh, nice left by Mike, though. Be careful, Jake. Don't get crazy. Ooh, nice left by Jake. But Jake's got to be careful now. When he gets in there, he's landing that extra punch and giving time for Mike to respond. He doesn't need to do that right now. But you know, inside of Jake, he wants that KO. 1 minute left in this fight. And the story of this fight will be Mike's age. It'll be that the fight never really even got off the ground for Mike Tyson. And if this thing gets to 0, the way it's looking right now, this fight will finish exactly how I told you it would finish. And people were getting on me for months. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Jake isn't a real fighter. How could you think Mike Tyson's not going to come in there and just whoop Jake Paul? Well, I mean, because you're not factoring in the age, man. You're thinking of the 80s and 90s Mike Tyson. Those who didn't live during that time are listening to the hype. And the bottom line is, it's just 31 years old is a big deal, man. 31-year age difference, I mean, is a big deal. And there's a tap, the final 10 seconds. And it's not that Mike doesn't want any more from Jake Paul. Be careful. And both guys bowing to each other. And this fight comes to an end. And they talk it out. And I'm sure Mike's telling him right now, like, keep going. You definitely can fight. Regardless of the age of Mike Tyson, I don't think there's any one of us getting in there with Mike Tyson. I mean, I just tell you that right now. Now Jake's corner, hugging with Mike Tyson, talking to him, and regardless of, you know, Mike Tyson's got to be proud of himself. I mean, he's a 58-year-old dude. I mean, you're right about 60 years old, and you get in there with a 27-year-old, and you go 8 rounds. And, you know, I know he wanted to win the fight, but the reality is, man, Mike Tyson's got nothing to be ashamed of because he's not supposed to win this fight. So basically, as I told you for months and almost a year now, exactly how this fight would go down. Barring the big variable of a finish at any point by Mike Tyson, this fight would happen by Jake Paul just getting through the first 2 rounds, taking over from there, and just skating toward the finish line. And that's exactly what he did. And it should be basically, you know, 6 rounds of 2. And that's what they're showing here, 78-74. That's how I have it too. I might even make it 79-73. The judges want to be real friendly. They'll say 77-75. But there's no way Mike Tyson even won 4 rounds of this fight. Or 3 rounds. What's scary is if you get a road judge to give Tyson 4 rounds. I don't know how. I mean, at the end of 5 rounds, he had like 14 punches landed. I mean, it just wasn't nothing there. And hopefully Mike Tyson is okay. I mean, he seems fine at the moment, you know. But even though he didn't take any, like, big thunderous punches, hopefully he's okay. And he just gets back to being Mike Tyson. That's the bottom line. But Jake Paul proved it to everybody, hey, I'm not scared. Everybody in the world's against me. They'll forget that tomorrow, but everyone in the world is against him. And he still came in and got the job done. So waiting on the official decision, but it's clear that Jake Paul won this thing. So they let everybody in the ring. Now they're going to try to clear everyone from the ring. That's boxing for you. All right, here we go. Here we go with the decision. God, and they let everybody in the ring. I mean, boxing's got to get it together. Here we go. Here we go. 80-72. 79-73. Not even close. Jake, the problem child, Paul, dominates Mike Tyson. Basically 8 rounds to nothing and 7 rounds to 1. And that'll do it. That'll do it. Jake Paul gets a W. Just like I told you he would. Start listening to your boy Chris Cross. And you'll be right 7 times out of 10. No, we'll take this one, man, for sure. We'll take this one all day. Well, listen, we're going to wrap this thing up, man. For months I was telling you Jake Paul is going to get the win. Tyson is, going to look good for a round or two, but he's going to slow down real quick. And people are going to be walking away from this fight now acting like they didn't believe Mike Tyson would win and start saying Jake Paul just beat some 58-year-old guy. And, if you're Jake Paul, you can't win in this situation. But at the end of the day, you won the fight. That's the bottom line. Till next time, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless. As always, peace.